Hi, and welcome to Coffee and Pearls, Wisdom for Catholic Moms. I'm Sterling, and today we're going to be talking about The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. And ladies, today is going to be a little bit about tough love. And I think that sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need someone to say, yeah, I'm talking to you. I think you could do a better job. I think you could step it up. And if you did that, I think you'd be happier. And that's exactly what Jim Rohn talks about in The Art of Exceptional Living. And this is actually an audio set. I don't even think it was ever a book. It's just an audio series. And I stumbled upon it accidentally at the library. And when I did, it was at a time of my life when I really needed to hear what he had to say. I was struggling as a stay-at-home mom. I was doing a terrible job of taking care of my house. I didn't know how to be a good mom. I was new in my marriage and trying to figure that out. And I was really unhappy. And I spent a lot of time blaming, other things, situations or people, and saying, I'm unhappy because of this situation that I'm in. And so I kept looking outside of myself and blaming, other things and other people, and it wasn't helping me at all. And I popped in this CD series, and it really transformed my attitude. And Jim Rohn talks about how change absolutely has to start with ourselves, and that we cannot blame the circumstances we're in. We can't blame the economy. We can't blame who the president is. We can't, blame the type of job that we're in. None of those things. We have the power to change and affect our own life, and it's our responsibility to do that. And so there are 2 points I want to cover today. The first quote that I want to pull from this audio content is, work harder on yourself than your job. And this gets thrown around the internet a lot. It's one of Jim Rohn's famous quotes. Work harder on yourself than your job. And when he talks about this, what he means is, if you have, let's say a regular 8 to 5 job, not only should you show up and be doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing for your job, but you should also be working on yourself, learning skills, acquiring new knowledge, so that if for some reason that job were to go away, the knowledge that you've been working on, the things that you've been practicing, you can take that with you. And so you're kind of building yourself up no matter where you are. And so I think he talks about that because the world changes so quickly, and our circumstances change sometimes without us preparing for it and knowing that it's coming. And so he says, if you can be working on yourself while you're working at your job and working harder on yourself than just your job, that's how you're going to be successful. And so when I was revisiting this concept and thinking about it in terms of moms, I was thinking, we kind of have to work 24 hours a day. So what does that mean for us? How are we supposed to work harder on ourselves when we're also doing all of these other things? But I think the answer for most of us is just to make time for ourselves. I think so many of us are guilty of taking care of our family, our husband and our kids, and signing up for the PTA or volunteering at church and living out here so much that we don't take time for ourselves. And so we're just burned out and we're running on fumes. And so I think taking care of ourselves looks like reading a book, or taking a bubble bath, or taking a shower, or, going for a walk, and improving our minds. And I think that last one is really important. I think we need to be making time to improve our minds and to become a better version of ourselves. And for me, that means reading books. I love reading books. But for you, it might just mean, learning a new recipe to simplify your meal planning and your dinner time routine. Or maybe it means finding a recipe for making your own laundry detergent so you can save some money because you have a really big family and your budget is tight. But I think we should always be working to improve ourselves. And that's really what the whole Coffee and Pearls program is about. It's about, finding ways that we can, improve ourselves and be a little bit better tomorrow. And so for those of you who don't like reading books, you can always go online and read some articles or YouTube videos. I mean, that's what's amazing about the internet these days, is that you can learn just about anything that you want to. And so remember to work harder on yourself than on your job. If you're not taking care of yourself, It's going to be harder for you to be a good mom and a good wife and a good Catholic in the community. The second point I want to talk about today is this quote: everybody has to be good at either two things, planting in the spring or begging in the fall. So I had to pick this quote because when I heard it, it caused me pain. And that's when I know something that's really good. I heard this quote and I thought, oh, I am so guilty of that. I am a huge procrastinator, and it drives my husband nuts because he's exactly the opposite. He does everything exactly when it needs to be done. And so he'll say, don't forget to do that, or don't leave that until later. And it drives me crazy. But even more than that driving me crazy, it's that moment when he turns out to be right. When I didn't put away that pile of papers, I shoved them off into the corner, and then I lost the registration for my daughter's CCD class, and now it's due in an hour, and I have to get there, and I'm stressed out, right? And so I think that this whole concept has to do with planning and being organized. And that's so difficult for moms, or at least some moms. I know some moms who are hyper organized, but I'm not one of those moms. And so maybe you aren't either. And it's difficult to keep everything together and to have a list and to know what needs to be done. But it's so crucial because not doing this makes us run around like crazy people, and it causes stress for our families. And I know that as I was planning this video and thinking about what I wanted to work on, it was so obvious 3 ways that I could work on procrastinating less and planning more. And so the 3 things immediately that popped in my mind that I knew I wanted to work on were to open my mail immediately and to deal with it instead of leaving it in a pile and forgetting about it. 2, to put my shoes away in my closet instead of leaving them and tripping over them all over the house. And 3, to create a better system for what we need at the grocery store so I can stop getting home and saying, oh man, I forgot eggs. So those things happen to me all the time. The mail causes me problems. I trip over the shoes all the time, and I'll get home from the grocery store and forget something really crucial because it wasn't on my list. And now that causes a huge problem because I have to load my 3 kids back up into the car at some point and go and get the eggs. And so I think that all of you should sit down and just think of 3 things that you could be working on. And I don't think you should overhaul your whole life at once. So I wouldn't say save lots of money, lose a lot of weight, and start going to daily mass. Right? That would be a lot to tackle all at once. The 3 things I picked are pretty small, and I think you could pick 3 small things or 1 slightly bigger thing to work on. And if you don't have a budget, if your family hasn't sat down and created a family budget, I would really recommend that be the very first thing that you start with. Having a budget and knowing where your money's going really helps to create more peace in your life and to really minimize begging in the fall and hitting a crisis situation and being stressed about things that pop up that are unexpected. And so I'm a huge fan of Dave Ramsey and his program. If you go to his website, daveramsey.com, you can check out some great budgeting tips, and he's got some forms that you can fill out there, some templates, and I think that's a great place to get started. If you already have a budget, you can tackle organizing your kitchen or making your spirituality more of a priority in your life. But as Jim Rohn says, we have to have a plan. We've got to be working on these things. And in order not to be beggars in the fall, we can't put things off. We can't procrastinate things. We have to work hard every day. And, those are just a couple ideas that I think you ladies could be working on. Pick something that will give you a little bit more peace and help you to be a little less stressed this season. So the 2 things that we talked about in today's episode are working harder on yourself than your job. Make time to take care of yourself. Make time to improve your mind and to energize yourself so you can go out and take care of the people that God has put in your life. And the second thing we talked about was, working hard and planting in the spring so that you're not a beggar in the fall. I think all of us procrastinate on certain things. It's easy to come up with that list. It's a little harder to work on it, but I want you to purpose to do that this week. because I think it will make you a happier version of you. So thanks for being a part of Coffee and Pearls. As always, you can catch this episode on my website, including a worksheet for you to fill out so you can put these principles into action. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and connect with me on social media. Please let me know if I can be praying for you this week. Thank you for being a part of Coffee and Pearls. Have a blessed day.